This is Newcap News with Brian Lentz.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. The Lakeland College Trade Center, located in Vermilion, will soon be getting much needed renovations. A $6 million investment for the decades-old building is exactly what is needed for years.
The roof is leaking in a number of locations, and it's high time that it be repaired, and our government is putting up the money to do that.
The Trade Center currently houses 9 different apprenticeship trades, and with the renovations comes the chance to grow that number.
It's an opportunity to create some really world-class trades training facilities in Vermilion. You know, when the roof is leaking, it's hard to have a lot of technology laying around.
Schmidt says Lakeland is just one of many post-secondary institutions across the province in need of funding for infrastructure.
Lakeland College has identified this as a top infrastructure priority for a number of years. Unfortunately, the previous government left us with a significant infrastructure deficit on campuses all across the province, and our government is beginning to tackle it, and this investment is part of that.
Updates and renovations have taken place since the official opening of the building in 1985, but this funding will be the most invested into the building since its construction. Well, after a few weeks off, City Council was back to business this afternoon. A pair of proclamations and first reading of bylaws dominated most of the discussion. Josh Ryan has more from City Hall.
City Council began with a pair of proclamations this week, the first for Pitch in Lloydminster Week, which begins April 30th. It's an invitation for residents throughout the area to actively participate in keeping neighborhoods clean and the environment healthy.
It's just an idea to help remind citizens that everyone's responsible for our community, for the environment. We'll be out, I know I'll be out helping the Boy Scouts and some of the schools clean up playgrounds and parks starting that week. It's so important that people take that time.
The second proclamation was for National Volunteers Week, which runs April 16th to 21st. Albers says it's particularly important to recognize the role volunteers play in this city's day-to-day life and in major events.
From neighbors helping neighbors, an elderly couple that may not be able to shovel or mow their grass, but still want to remain in their home. Someone down the street comes by and helps them out. Those are the kinds of things that makes volunteering just so incredible.
Other items that were discussed include the revamped land use bylaw, which passed through first reading. The bylaw was facilitated by the need to address issues stemming from marijuana legalization. This will certainly be discussed further on Thursday at Your Voice Night. Josh Ryan, Newcap News, City Hall.
Thanks to a local woman who has shared her struggle with postpartum depression, families in Lloydminster are now able to access resources here in the border city. Michaela Henschel has more.
According to the World Health Organization, depression is projected to carry the highest disease burden of all health by 2020. When Krista Holden gave birth to her son Elliot only 5 years ago, she didn't know where to turn for postpartum support and was forced to travel to Saskatoon for care.
It's imperative that women get connected to resources as soon as possible. I wasn't connected to resources till Elliot was about 14 or 15 months. So the impact that it's had on us long term has been quite profound. I now struggle with chronic depression and anxiety.
With 1 in 5 women experiencing mental health issues during or after pregnancy, the need for mental health resources close to home is critical.
When I look back at pictures when Elliot, even under the age of 2, I don't remember that time. So I feel like I've lost a really critical part of his life when that sort of serve and return is so important.
Thanks to Krista and her family's story, the Maternal Mental Health Initiative was started. With the combined efforts of various health organizations, the initiative works to ensure mothers and their families have timely access to screening and local follow-up services.
The Maternal Mental Health Initiative has really focused on increasing knowledge about the importance of mothers' mental health, in increasing the knowledge around early identification and the ways to do that.
In a short amount of time, the group has been able to bring many resources to the community. Currently, they are looking for 11 community members to help with their new My Mom Matters campaign, which launches next month.
Is an opportunity for children to be a voice for how important their moms are in their life. And what we're hoping is that throughout the year, each month, we'll have a host organization within the community, whether that's an agency, a business, a school, that will be the host site.
And while the focus is typically on women, the group is ensuring men aren't overlooked.
It's really critical now, as we understand research coming forward, to ensure that we're understanding the impact on dads and to ensure that we have an understanding of how we can use the screening tools and the resources that we have available to also really support and promote dads' mental health as well.
Michaela Henschel, Newcap News.
Well, Canada's Queen of R&B, Julie Black, was in town over the weekend performing at Lakeland College's President Gala. Black wanted to be a part of the evening because of her passion for providing student funding.
I have personal experience having to rely in the past on, on bursaries, on grants.
Black says she also enjoys the opportunity to let audiences enjoy soul in different musical genres.
It's very important for me to spread that message of singing true stories that may not even be your own story, but somebody could relate to.
In addition to music and musical theater, Black focuses on an organization she co-created called Empowered in My Skin to help women around the globe.
It's important for us to kind of bottle the confidence and see how we could teach it, and the way we teach it is through vulnerability, through telling the stories.
And we will have more on the President's Gala tomorrow on Newcap News. Well, the RCMP work tirelessly to support our communities, but sometimes they need help to keep us safe. We see in this week's edition of Retrospect how the role of police auxiliaries has changed in the border city.
The Alberta side of the border city now has a few extra set of eyes and ears out to watch for any illegal wrongdoings. That's because as of today, the Lloydminster RCMP have sworn in their auxiliary members to officially work in Alberta, which before they weren't allowed to do.
There was a problem with workmen's compensation coverage because they were sworn in Saskatchewan. They weren't recognized through workmen's compensation as being special constables for Alberta. This now allows them to receive benefits if they're hurt in the course of their duty.
It feels good. We've all of us as auxiliaries have missed being able to go out due to this little border city problem, but today we're able to go back into full force action, and we're looking forward to getting back on shift again.
An auxiliary officer is a volunteer for the RCMP. They are committed to put in 160 hours of work a year.
And that commitment to the community has continued today with 3 auxiliary members in the border city. However, changes are coming to the program in Alberta with the potential for a 3-tiered system.
It's everything from helping out at fairs and parades to going out on calls and being inside of the bars or different things like that to be more hands-on and assist the RCMP members with their job.
There are now more specific requirements to becoming an auxiliary RCMP member than before to keep the program in line with current privacy, security, and safety protocols.
You actually have to go through a whole bunch of training. There's use of force. You actually use and get pepper sprayed yourself so that you can have those tools and skills necessary to come out on the road and be safe.
Kersinger says the program is an important part of the RCMP's connection to the community and their ability to combat crime.
Definitely you can see how the auxiliary program would be something that would allow us to further that reach of those crime reduction strategies to engage the community and be part of solving crime inside of our own community.
That's all for Retrospect.
This is Newcap Sports.
The 2017-18 season showed improvement for the Lloydminster Bobcats Junior A team, but more is still needed. The team held its spring camp this weekend, finishing with a top 40 players game, and as Lance Phillips reports, important boxes are being checked by all.
The quality of play at this year's Bobcats spring camp wasn't lost on anyone, making the challenge of trimming players to form Sunday's top 40 game daunting, given exactly what coaching staff saw in terms of both quality and quantity all weekend.
We had about 150 kids come to camp, and it was very, very competitive, with thinking that many kids, it might get a little bit watered down or whatever, but no, I thought all 10 teams were strong, and it was some good hockey, some real good hockey players out there, so we were really impressed.
Since the 2015-2016 RBC Cup season, the Bobcats have been lacking in one key area, but Clayton is hopeful that some of the players at this year's camp could give fans at the Civic a lot more to cheer about in the upcoming season.
Obviously, everyone knows we only had one line last year, scoring goals, and as a coaching staff and the scouting staff, we went out looking for some high-end guys that can help with our secondary scoring, and I think we found them.
I'm a skilled guy, so opportunity to score goals and make plays and stuff like that. Yeah, it's probably ideal for me. I'm not much of a, bang and crash kind of guy, so yeah, I'd say wherever I can play a skill game kind of thing.
I'm kind of a guy that likes to always be up in the play. I like to jump up in the rush, score goals, help on goals, and just a really offensive defenseman, but at the same time, I don't think I'm a liability out there.
Signing the right players means checking all the required boxes in terms of talent, but the players have requirements too. And for some of the camp's top prospects, the Bobcats organization fit those needs well.
Definitely, if they go out of their way to talk to you, and this whole organization has been super greetingful. Like they're just super nice, and everything they're doing is just welcoming.
Just the culture all around, and so far I've been really happy here. It's a great town. It's like a great place to be. That's a big factor too, and it just seems like a really good team, and just great people all around.
For me as an 18-year-old, I want to be able to go to school next year, so that's really important for me, and obviously I don't want to play at a bad facility, like a good dressing room, nice rink, and a place that's going to draw fans every night.
And bringing fans to the door is something the Bobcats have always done well. Lance Phillips, Newcap Sports, Lloydminster.
This is Newcap weather with Gerard Lampa.
Welcome back, everyone. We knew that going into this week it would pose certainly some challenges. No special weather statements or warnings or watches. Those are in central Saskatchewan, Saskatoon and Regina. We're talking about 10 centimeters possible there. And it seems like some of that cloud cover or snow-producing clouds already pushing through some parts of central Saskatchewan. Light showers rain being recorded, similar to what we're seeing here around Kindersley areas at the moment there. Let's put this map into motion then, see what we are dealing with as this system makes its trek from the southwest off to the northeast. And look at the warm front, look at the rotation on it. You're certainly seeing it there as it pushes on through on the overnights and into tomorrow afternoon there. But the special weather statements are all for central Saskatchewan there. And I think even though this is playing it out here, looks like we're on the edge of this anywhere from 2 to 4 centimeters seems to be possible. Maybe 6 might be on the high end, but it will melt. And why we're saying that is because look at the temperatures for tomorrow, the possible 3, 4 in Marwayne, 5 out to Cold Lake. Some of those potential for snow already beginning to push into some parts of the Lakeland, Cold Lake, just south of Cold Lake and Bonnyville areas. But with those temperatures on tap for tomorrow, it certainly will melt off. Some implications for visibility because the wind is hanging around 50 to 60 km before it begins to ease off. A string of 3s there for tomorrow as well for some parts of areas there. Isla Cross, Green Lake, Meadow Lake areas there. 3 as well in Maidstone. But positive numbers, it'll melt off there. Let's head across the country. Showers in Vancouver for +8, -1 in Edmonton there. But again, they're contending with light snow showers. It's been on again, off again from since early on in the afternoon there. -1, mainly sunny in Whitehorse. Snow showers there to Yellowknife beginning to ease off for their -5 there. Watching the cloud cover push into Regina for +2. Sunny skies in Winnipeg. They're sitting at 7. Let's head to Toronto now, and the showers holding off for now, sitting at +2, and a mixing of sleet and freezing rain in Quebec, sitting on the freezer at 0. 1 in Halifax, overcast, mainly clear evening in St. John's for -3, and mainly sunny out to Iqaluit, -12. So back on the prairies now, cloud cover pushing into the Battlefords for +1. -2 is possible to the early hours of tomorrow morning. This graphic is calling for some 3 to 6 centimeters. The wind hanging around, some of the gusts anywhere from 50, 55 kilometers per hour seems to be fairly possible. We're already seeing at the moment it's up at 61 kilometers per hour before it begins to ease off during the course of the day. +2 is possible, but keep a tab on the Saskatchewan Highway hotline there. Check those road conditions if your travel plans taking you to Maidstone or Battlefords areas or even to Saskatoon tomorrow morning. You want to keep tabs on that. 6 at the moment in Cold Lake proper, down from 7 earlier. -2 towards the early hours of tomorrow morning and looking for +5 eventually as your daytime high. And for ourselves, Lloydminster and the Midwest region, 1 is going down as our daytime high. It's been really spitting, not so much a downpour of rain or anything like that. -1 towards the early hours of tomorrow morning. This graphic is holding it anywhere from 3 to 6 centimeters. The initial burst of it will certainly melt because it's warm on the surface there. Some of it will accumulate, but with +3, overcast skies, it will melt. Southeast winds generally anywhere from, let's say, 15 to 30 kilometers per hour once it begins to ease off there. 5 on Wednesday with sunshine, so we will see some more melting. 8 on Thursday, 10 on Friday, 11 on Saturday. Some more showers, April showers possible Saturday into Sunday there. A little windy with that. 9 on Sunday, 9 next Monday. Brian, back to you for Agriculture News.
Well, water is necessary for life, and Lakeland residents are benefiting from a workshop this week looking at water quality of wells. Gerard Lampow has more.
What we're mainly talking about in our workshops is groundwater that people are using for a water source that's coming from an aquifer.
The broad definition of groundwater is any water that is below the surface. Ken Williamson was on board in 2008 when the Working Well program was rolled out in Alberta. He's still pitching in at workshops across the province.
People are responsible for their own quality of their own water supply when you're on a private well system. And so the Alberta Health Services will do testing for people for both routine chemical analysis of water and for microbiological testing, looking for E. coli and total coliform bacteria.
Water samples are sent to the local health office, but it must reach the lab within 24 hours for testing. Wells must be protected from contamination.
The well should be located in a spot where you're not going to get, surface runoff running towards it that could somehow get down along the side of the casing.
Proper well construction is critical. At the workshops, when people register to attend, Williamson can access their water well drilling report and discuss how their well was drilled. Basic well maintenance includes keeping the area clean and capping the well so that nothing can fall into it.
Probably the most common problem in Alberta is what we call biofouling. And biofouling is basically caused by just naturally occurring slime-forming bacteria that tend to grow in probably 75% of the wells, we think, in Alberta.
Annual shock chlorination is used to treat this problem, which clogs up the intake and well pump. A workshop is planned at Flat Lake Hall near St. Paul on Tuesday evening. Gerard Lampow, Newcap News.